Welcome to today's Explainer. We are jumping right into a really fascinating, timeless fable from The Wisdom of Hope. It tackles a concept that honestly feels universally relevant, no matter who you are or where you live. How our mindset actively shapes our reality. Let's dive right in and see exactly how abstract ideas, like optimism, actually translate into everyday survival.
So can a simple shift in your thoughts actually change your reality? I really want you to stop and think about that for a second. When you're facing genuine hardship, is optimism just some tired cliche people throw around? Or could it actually be a highly practical survival tool? Well, we're going to break down exactly how this dynamic works based on a beautifully simple narrative.
Section 1. The Wise Village Elder.
Okay, so the environment in this village is incredibly demanding. You've got farmers, carpenters, and market workers facing some seriously harsh realities. Sometimes the rain simply fails to come and the crops just dry up. Illness can strike out of nowhere, stopping people from going to work and providing for their families. But right in the middle of this really difficult backdrop, there's an old lady with silver hair who lives near a large banyan tree. She's a widow, she has no children, and she's experienced profound loss. Yet, somehow, she remains this incredible beacon of hope. She just sits under her tree, talks to people, and always smiles. She's got this deliberate, joyful resilience that totally defies her circumstances.
Section 2. The Burden of Worry. Now we meet Radha. She's a young woman in the village, and her husband recently left for the city to find work. The problem is, he hasn't sent any money back yet, and her children are hungry. She is terrified. She's completely paralyzed by those classic what-ifs, What if he can't find work? What if he forgets us? She's spiraling, totally trapped by focusing on the absolute worst-case scenarios. The elder, however, operates on a completely different wavelength. Her philosophy is simple. If we think good thoughts, we feel better. It's a striking difference in how two people process the exact same harsh environment.
Eventually, Radha goes to the elder, crying, just entirely overwhelmed by the unknown. And the old lady doesn't dismiss her pain at all. She simply looks at Radha, smiles softly, asks her to sit down, and asks, "Tell me, what do you think will happen?"
The elder then tells her, "When we think bad thoughts, we feel worse. But if we think good thoughts, we feel better, and sometimes good things happen." It's so profoundly logical, isn't it? The elder isn't telling Radha to just ignore the hunger or to pretend her husband is already back. She's pointing out the absolute mechanical reality that spiraling into bad thoughts actively makes the physical and emotional experience of hardship significantly worse.
Section 3. A Story of Perspective.
So Radha asks a deeply logical question here. How can she possibly think good thoughts when everything around her is so bad? To answer her doubts, the elder tells her a story about a man sitting by a river, crying relentlessly. According to the story, this guy has absolutely nothing. No food, no money, no family. He truly believes he has zero reasons to be happy, and he's entirely consumed by his lack, feeling utterly hopeless.
Then, an old woman in the parable approaches this crying man. He's entirely focused on what he lacks, right? The food, the money, the family. But the woman points out what he actually has right in front of him: the flowing river, the strong trees, the warm sun. There's beauty and life literally everywhere around him. It boils down to a fundamental choice between focusing exclusively on a deficit versus actively recognizing the abundant reality sitting right in front of us.
The woman in the story tells him, "If you think about what you don't have, you will always be sad. But if you think about what you do have, you will find peace." And hearing this, the man slowly stops crying. He begins to actually look around and see the good things. And from that day forward, his life begins to change. Now the elder brings the lesson back to Radha with a really crucial clarification. The poor man's life didn't change because of magic. It changed because positive thinking made his heart lighter, enabling him to face his problems better. Optimism isn't magical thinking. It's a highly practical emotional tool that equips us with the bandwidth to handle severe adversity. Section 4. Changing your thoughts. Radha hears this whole parable and asks a very skeptical but honestly entirely valid question. Will my thinking really change my life? I want you to ask yourself that same question right now, because it's the natural human response. We get the moral of the story, sure, but does it actually work in practice when you're terrified and your kids are hungry?
The elder smiles gently and says, yes. And then she gives Radha a highly practical routine. She tells her to wake up every single morning and actively declare that it will be a good day. Because if her heart is lighter, she'll actually find the physical strength to work, care for her children, and wait for her husband with hope. The elder explicitly warns her that focusing on what might go wrong will only make her feel sad and weak. It is a step-by-step psychological protocol where optimism actually generates the strength required to survive.
Radha gets it. She understands, and she leaves with a noticeably lighter heart. Every single day she remembers those words. She declares it will be a good day, she works hard, and she cares for her kids. And guess what? Weeks later, her consistent effort and hopeful waiting are rewarded. She receives a letter from her husband. He found a job in the city and he enclosed money for the family.
Section 5. The Positive Ripple Effect.
Radha is obviously overjoyed, and she immediately runs back to the elder's house to share the incredible news. The elder nods and offers this final piece of wisdom. When we think positive, we invite good things into our life. Problems will always come, but if we face them with a hopeful heart, we can overcome them. It's a deeply realistic perspective. The elder completely acknowledges that hardships are inevitable. The rains will still fail sometimes, people will still get sick, but our response to those problems, whether we face them with crippling fear or with strength and hope, well, that is entirely our choice.
Word of Radha's transformation quickly spreads. Pretty soon, other sad and worried villagers start coming to the elder, sharing their own problems, and she gives them the exact same advice. Think good thoughts, and good will come. By shifting the perspective of one person and then another, she fundamentally elevates the mindset of the entire town. It creates this beautiful ripple effect, where they all learn firsthand the genuine power of positive thinking.
As we wrap up our analysis today, I really want to leave you with this question. What good things will you invite into your life today? The psychological mechanics behind this simple village story are incredibly powerful. Take a moment today to actively look around at your own river, trees, and sun instead of whatever it is you feel is missing right now. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I challenge you to apply this wise elder's wisdom to your own life today. See you next time.